In this video, I'm going to have to bust a few myths about how long it takes to form a habit. I'm going to give you the details that are kind of left out elsewhere about how long it actually takes. So watch this video to learn more. So if you've done any kind of research online about habit formation, you've probably come across this notion that it takes 21 days to form a new habit. And you're probably thinking, 21 days? Really? That seems kind of short. Well, you'd be right, because it's nonsense. And the way this came about is that quite a long time ago, there was an author called Maxwell Maltz, and he published a pretty amazing book called Psycho-Cybernetics. Highly recommend it if you haven't read it. It's all about your brain and how it works and stuff like that. Anyway, in this book, he talks about how long it took his patients, because he was a plastic surgeon, to get used to their change in nose or their change in ear or whatever work they've had done, right? And what he said in that book is that it takes at least 21 days for these patients to get used to their new face. So notice how this isn't exactly scientific. It's coming from a plastic surgeon. It's anecdotal, not very controlled environment, not really about habit formation. Basically, it's not a very reliable source. So then what happened, two scientists actually decided to do a proper test about this and did some research, I think with about 100 participants, 100 volunteers. And this is how that study went. So each of the 100 volunteers were asked to do either an eating habit, a drinking habit, or some other activity on a daily basis. And then once they've done their activity, they then had to fill out or respond to a questionnaire, which was designed to see how easy that activity was for them, how likely or how much of a habit it had become for them. So these scientists produced a big journal and some interesting insights, but out of this, one particular thing stood out, that on average, it took 66 days to form a habit. So that's what everybody published online. It's not 21 days, it's now 66 days. Well, no, that's a massive oversimplification too. So here's the thing, while the average was 66 days, the range was anything from 18 days to 254 days. So from less than 3 weeks to the best part of a year. So there were some interesting insights that came out of this study though. Firstly is that habit formation generally takes quite a long time. So on average 66 days, but could be a lot longer than that. Also, it varies quite a lot, as I just mentioned. Consistency is very, very important, so you have to really keep to the schedule. Having said that, if you miss one day, it doesn't seem to make that much of a difference for habit formation. Participants that missed just one day, had a little slip up or an off day, didn't seem to affect their formation of habits. So why is there such a wide variation from 18 to 254 days? Well, it's kind of what you would expect really, isn't it? I mean, you're probably different to me. Maybe you get accustomed to habits faster than I do. Everyone's different, right? But then also, if you're trying to drink more water at work, that's a lot easier habit to get accustomed to than, let's say, doing a grueling 3-hour workout every day. There's so many variables to be taken into account that it's really just like how long is a piece of string? You don't really have an answer for it. But that's the thing I also want to talk about is, why is this really important? This question to me is kind of like an entrepreneur coming to me and saying, how long will it take to make $5,000 a month if I sell software? And the answer is, you're asking the wrong questions. You see, in the same way that building a business is all about how much value you can provide and being in it for the long term, building a sustainable, profitable business is all about that. Habits are all about the long term too. Here's how I look at this. If I make a decision that a habit is worthwhile implementing into my life, if I'm going to go through the rigmarole and the effort and the willpower to bring this habit into my life, to instill it, to make it automatic, then it needs to be for the long term. It needs to be indefinite. I'm not going to put a date range on that. I'm not going to say, okay, in 21 days, if it hasn't stuck, I'm going to quit. Or in 66 days, I'm going to quit. No, if I decide that this habit is going to be ingrained in my life, I'm on it indefinitely. Listen, it's quite possible that some habits will take 2 years for you to instill. I mean, this study wasn't exactly a big one. There was less than 100 sample size. But it doesn't really matter. If you're going to decide to build a habit into your life, and it's going to bring you positive things, and just know that if you do it consistently for a long enough period of time, then it will eventually, at some point that none of us knows, become a habit for you. At that point, it will become pretty automatic, much easier for you to follow through, and you will reap all of those rewards. So in summary, how long is it going to take for you to build your habit? I have no idea. You have no idea. Nobody has any idea. and it doesn't matter. Just make a decision that you're going to see it through. The longer you spend on it, the more likely it will be to stick. If you miss a day because you're having a bad day or you're sick or something like that, doesn't matter. Just make sure you don't build a chain of missed events. One-offs, that's not a problem. Guys, I wish you luck in building your habits, and I hope this video shed some light on some of the myths that are out there about habit building. If you do manage to build a habit, leave me a comment below because I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. I do videos like this on a weekly basis, and I'll see you again next week.